Hello, mutants. I'm Utisha, the movie goddess, and you're watching Mutant TV.
Alas, poor Yorick, you're all going to die in there. Welcome back to another edition of the Mondo Magic Hour, Stribo-Rama, whatever we're going to call this. But this week we're going to talk to you about American Horror Story, which in my opinion is the best horror program on television, cable, free, pay, satellite, underground, overground, terrestrial, extraterrestrial, interdimensional, whatever you want to call it. It's the best thing going today. In case you are unfamiliar with American Horror Story, beginning with the first episode, it tells the story of the Harmon family and their move from, are they moving from New York? Maybe it's Boston, to LA. Anyway, they go to LA and they arrive in a newly renovated mansion, which just so happens to be the infamous murder house. If you haven't seen the show, stop watching here. Well, after the next 20 seconds, stop watching and go watch it when I tell you to. Because that's the setup of the plot. Okay, yeah, Ben Harmon is a psychiatrist, so he talks to patients in his home. His wife is there, and they're estranged. There's some strange things that happen to them in their relationship because of some infidelity. They're trying to get over that. So that's the kind of the essential backstory, and also their teenage daughter is there, and she's going through typical teenage girl problems, whatever. But anyway, I find myself engrossed by all the characters in this movie, in this TV show, even though it's, it has the melodrama elements of something like Walking Dead or True Blood. It's so much darker and sleazier that I just find it more believable. I find it just more engrossing, much more interesting, because it's a very, very greasy show, so to speak, if I could borrow the term from our buddies at Exploited Cinema. There's also the Maid, which, yeah. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil the stuff for you. But anyway, the show is surreal. It deals with hauntings. It has scary stuff in it. It's atmospheric. It's beautifully shot. It has excellent actors all the way through. Jessica Lange is the neighbor. I mean, they're very quirky, interesting, engaging. That was one of the elements I thought was great about the first season of True Blood, was that the characters were very, very quirky and very interesting. And that was something True Blood kind of lost as the series went on. But at the present, American Horror Story has that. And they also have a way of building mystery episode after episode after episode, and confusing things where things seem surreal and you're not sure what's going on. And don't want to spoil things. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Now, if you have seen it, once you have seen it, come back, fast forward to 3 minutes, 30 seconds in this video. It's about where we're going to be right here. And we're going to talk about the spoilery stuff. And I'm going to say, I don't know. This show is just awesome. I don't know which way it's going, although I will admit that last week's episode where they showed Tate as the Rubber Man, I thought that was a little bit, probably the weakest episode of the series so far. Though I do like how each episode, it just kind of focuses on a different aspect of the murder house. And I really like the title American Horror Story, and how that, in a lot of ways, it applies to a lot of the ghosts and the horrific, stories that are stuck in that house. Like the story of Tate as the school shooter. That's definitely an American horror story. I mean, this is something that is indigenous to our culture, like it or not. It's very, very interesting. I'm waiting for the Ed Gein elements to kind of pop up, or rather to reveal its ugly head, so to speak. Another one of the big fears played with in this show, is the fear of deformed children or malformed children. It's even in the opening sequence where they have all those fetuses in the jars. I mean, that's creepy stuff for a TV show. It's so good right now. I don't think it can stay good going into a second and third season. I think it's just going to go straight downhill. The only way they can keep American Horror Story good and engaging is to keep coming up with mysteries every single episode. And already in the first season, they've started explaining away all their mysteries. So you already know Tate is dead, okay, but he comes and sees Ben in his psychiatric sessions anyway, which is weird to me, because it's like, well, who's doing the pay? Who's paying for Tate's sessions? You know, I mean, doesn't Ben know that he's not getting paid for these? That there's no credit cards attached to his bills? So that kind of bothers me, but I'm willing to let that go. I don't want to be too nitpicky there, but. And with Violet being revealed that she was psychic a couple episodes back, where she's a little more in tune to these things, that's interesting. There's the Rosemary's Baby element with Vivian being pregnant and being essentially impregnated by the Gimp, which is like a scene lifted straight from Rosemary's Baby, where Rosemary is raped by the devil, so to speak. So yeah, I always kind of looked at it like the Gimp was the spirit, the evil spirit of the house, especially at least in that scene where he didn't quite rape Vivian, but anyway, it looked more consensual. But fascinating stuff. I love the ghosts of Tate's victims tormenting him in that one episode. That was really cool. And he was just like, why are you doing this to me? And they were all like, well, why did you kill us? And that was cool. That was just good storytelling, and it was creepy, and so many things. I remember when American Horror Story, when I first heard about it, and I saw the ads for it, and I just thought, what is this? It was, it's the woman in the red room with the Gimp hanging over or to the side or whatever. And I just kept looking at it. I'm like, what are they trying to promote here? And I thought that title, I was like, American Horror Story, that's a cool title. At first, I might have thought it was a documentary. I was probably thinking, oh man, is that another documentary for me to watch? I can never get enough of those. But I was like, it's a TV show from the creators of Glee. I'm like, well, what does all that mean? I don't watch Glee. I've seen some detractors online say that American Horror Story plays like it was typically like it was written by homosexuals, and I don't know, I don't get that at all. There is a lot of gay content in the show. There's a lot of butt shots, but there's also a lot of sexy female action in it too. So as long as I keep getting that, like for example The Maid, as long as we keep seeing The Maid, I'm down for the cause, buddy. And Connie Britton as Vivian is pretty hot too, so I don't have any complaints there. But and Jessica Lange, what's up with her character? She's interesting. It's like, is she behind all this stuff? Is she trying to use the house to achieve some kind of immortality or what? I mean, what's going on there? And also, I'm curious about the story of the first family, the doctor that built the house, and they died and all that, and apparently their deformed, Frankenstein child is living in the basement or whatever, or the ghost of their deformed child is living in the basement. Now, another thing I've seen a lot of the detractors say about this show is that it just rips off a lot of classic horror elements. And in a lot of ways it does. I mean, anytime it turns a corner, it can just suddenly be like the middle of any kind of horror movie. It could be a ghost movie where you have a character alone and there's supernatural presences about, or you have somebody being chased by someone. Any of that kind of stuff where it can just pull slasher here, ghost story there, whatever it needs at any given moment. But then it also has this surreal nature of, well, is this a dream? Is this reality? Is this person dead? Is that person alive? Is this a ghost? Is this a haunting? Do they know this is a ghost? What's the interaction here? And therein lies the brilliance of American Horror Story and the gimmick of the murder house, with that in being that it's kind of this repository for spirits, for souls. It traps them, captures them, keeps them there for all eternity. For what reasons? Who knows? We'll just probably that'll have to be revealed when they get into the story of the doctor and why he built the house and this, that, and the other. So I think that's everything I wanted to cover on it. Yeah, I hope they keep the mysteries coming. Oh, one homage you might not have noticed from episode 2, when they have the guy killing, are they cheerleaders he's killing, or is it the nurses? I can't remember which. I might be confusing episodes. But anyway, he kills somebody a la Cruising, where they're tied up with their hands and their legs. They're on their stomach, and their hands and legs are tied behind their back, and stabs them in the back. Straight out of Cruising. So, I don't know. Are these things homages? Are they ripoffs? Who knows? As long as it all combines into some kind of interesting melange every week and gives me some spooky stuff, some atmospheric stuff, some beautiful people, nice little horrific elements, a little bit of gore here, there, some greasy stuff, some sleazy stuff. It's American Horror Story, and I totally dig it. I think it's the best thing going in terms of horror television today. I say jump on it, start watching it from episode 1, go all the way through it. That's the only way to get into it. Otherwise, just keep on keeping on. But this is Strebo coming to you from MutantVille.com. See you next time. Peace.
You're watching Mutant TV.